Breaking the midnight seal. In the secluded crevices of Collinswood, the witching hour was not merely a tick on the timepiece. It was a riddle swathed in obscurity and doubt, an interval where the concrete realm waltzed with phantom beings. On a night devoid of lunar light, as the midnight toll echoed its eerie tune, this magical hour draped its veil over all existence. The occurrences that sprang to life during this spectral span reverberated through infinity. At the core of Collinswood towered an ancient mansion named Dorn Manor. Its ominous outline, distinguished by decaying walls and broken windows, sent a chill racing down my backbone every time I crossed its path. Tales whispered around town about an old witch who had once claimed this dwelling as her own. They suggested her dark sorcery stirred with each chime of midnight's bell. As a young woman captivated by all things enigmatic, these chilling stories about Dorn Manor fascinated me more than they frightened me. Disregarding them as exaggerated yarns woven by superstitious minds, I found myself crossing the threshold of the manor at the witching hour. As I ventured into this forsaken domicile, a weighty ambiance swallowed me whole. Shadows frolicked on crumbling walls while an otherworldly cold seeped into every nook and cranny. I found myself descending into a cellar chamber rumored to house remnants of potent witchcraft. The room radiated with an unearthly blue luminescence that spotlighted various archaic relics, pulsing with paranormal energy. An antiquated mirror tarnished by time seized my attention. My reflection twisted within its surface, revealing glimpses of a horrifying visage. My heart hammered in rhythm with whispered spells echoing around me. The spectral figure of the witch materialized in my mirror image, her grotesque countenance contorted in malevolent joy. Fear coursed through me like electricity. I whirled around to flee only for the door to slam shut with a thunderous bang. In the blackness, the mirror's blue radiance amplified, unveiling the spectral figures of those who had dared to intrude before me. Their sorrowful wails filled the room as the ghostly forms encircled me. Frost prickled my skin. In a frantic search for an exit, I stumbled upon a weathered journal. With quaking hands, I read about the witch's unholy pact with darkness and the curse binding her to Dorn Manor. Emboldened by newfound hope, I rushed to the mirror and recited a spell I hoped would break the curse. The chamber quaked as a supernatural force engulfed me. The mirror shattered into fragments. An earth-rattling roar reverberated through the room, followed by deathly silence. I was liberated, but Dorn Manor bore everlasting marks from its cursed history. As spirits dissolved into nothingness and the manor crumbled behind as I escaped, Collinswood was irrevocably changed. The townspeople would always remember this night as the time I broke the spell of the witching hour. Curiosity had led me into darkness's embrace, but it also unveiled within me a power I never realized existed. However, unbeknownst to me were these freed spirits' sinister schemes. As Collinswood rejoiced in liberation from ancient curses, these entities perpetrated their malevolence in unpredictable ways. The villagers remained blissfully ignorant of the impending dread. They hadn't destroyed but merely unleashed a new form of curse. These ethereal beings found fresh vessels for their fury, and their reign of terror was far from concluded. Even though the dreaded witching hour had faded into obscurity, its malignant influence lingered like an eerie echo of past horrors. Collinswood was soon to find itself ensnared in even deeper chasms of darkness. As dawn shyly emerged over the horizon, a terrifying realization dawned on Collinswood. They were only beginning to grasp the true beast beneath. The evil set free that night was not transient wickedness. It was an insidious force that would haunt them relentlessly, generation after generation. But as daylight neared, something even more horrifying unfolded. A spectral silence descended upon Collinswood, and time itself paused in dreadful anticipation. The evil unshackled that fateful night sought not merely to torment but to devour their very souls, leaving behind nothing but hollow husks devoid of hope or salvation. This horrifying revelation sent shockwaves of terror through the town, freezing hearts mid-beat and turning blood ice-cold in veins. Collinswood teetered on the edge of darkness so profound that even death seemed like a merciful release compared to what awaited them, an eternity ensnared in a perpetual nightmare forged by the enduring curse of the witching hour. Moonlit Coven, bathed in the ghostly glow of a full moon, its silver beams weaving through the bare, outstretched arms of the forest trees, an eerie luminescence claimed the heart of a woodland clearing. The moon's pale light revealed a circle meticulously etched in chalk on the earth, each arcane symbol within it crying out in silent supplication to powers that lay beyond mortal comprehension. Standing at its center was the Coven's leader, her features shrouded by a wide-brimmed hat that cast specter-like shadows across her face. Her chant was a primal murmur that echoed deep within my soul, spinning a web of magic that sent shivers of cold dread along my spine. Each uttered syllable clawed at the edge of my understanding, pulling me deeper into a mystery that gripped my senses and refused to let go. A feeling of fear and unease coursed my body, conflicting with a morbid sense of curiosity. A desire to discover the truth, fueled by late-night internet searches and whispered urban legends, led me to this secretive gathering. It was more than just women congregating under lunar light to chant around a fire. It was an avenue for might unimaginable, an invitation into realms where life and death danced on gossamer threads as delicate as moonbeams. As her incantations reached their crescendo, the Coven's matron elevated a silver chalice brimming with a thick liquid that glowed with an alien luminescence. It pulsed faintly in rhythm with a sickly, sweet aroma that seemed as unnatural as its spectral glow. The air sizzled with invisible energy, radiating an oppressive force that made every hair on my arms rise in alarm. Reality warped and buckled under the titanic strain of the ritual. From deep within, the forest's heart echoed a low growl, raw and primal, reverberating throughout the clearing. The chanting ceased, and silence fell heavy upon us like leaden chains. As one entity, all of the Coven members turned toward the eerie sound source, anticipation and fear painted upon their faces. The dormant wind stirred to life, rustling leaves into a mournful chorus. Then, from the clearing's fringes, a figure materialized under the spectral moonlight. It bore a man's semblance, but exuded an aura that defied any simple classification. Its skin was an unnatural hue of gray, stretched taut over bony contours. Its eyes were fiery coals in the dark, radiating an ancient and malevolent wisdom. The chalice in the Coven leader's hand wavered as she realized their summoning had gone awry. An elemental fear clawed at my throat, threatening to burst forth as the entity fixed its chilling gaze on me, an intruder witnessing a dark ritual spiraling out of control. In that moment, I finally understood the purpose of their circular formation, repeated chants and ceremonial cup. It wasn't just a ritual to summon something, but also a means of trapping ancient powers beyond human comprehension. Yet this hastily constructed chalk cage proved insufficient against the creature they'd invoked. With an icy smile stretching grotesquely wide across its face, it lunged toward the Coven leader. Her scream echoed through the clearing before being abruptly silenced, as its skeletal hand constricted around her neck. Pandemonium ensued as terrified screams punctuated the night air. The Coven members scattered in all directions. The entity turned its attention to me with movements too swift for human understanding. This was not the power I sought. It was a dark void peering back at me, an entity driven by darkness and insatiable evil. In my desperate bid to tear myself away from this living horror, my foot snagged on the uneven edge of the chalk-drawn circle. The stumble sent me sprawling, hands flailing and smudging the arcane symbols that had been painstakingly etched into the ground. An unsettling laughter, devoid of any shred of joy or amusement, reverberated through the stillness of the clearing. The sound echoed ominously as if it were bouncing off unseen walls. The boundaries they had so carefully constructed had been shattered, the unwelcome invitation accepted with ghoulish delight. The grim realization hit me like a punch to my gut. I was about to bear witness to horrifying repercussions, consequences born from our audacity to tamper with powers too potent and ancient for human comprehension or control. We dared to poke and prod at forces meant to remain undisturbed, untouched by mortal hands. And now those forces were awakening with a vengeance, ready to teach us a lesson we would never forget. A chilly wind swept across the clearing, carrying whispers of what was yet to come. A sinister prelude that left goosebumps prickling on my skin and dread coiling in my stomach like a venomous snake readying its strike. My knees buckled beneath me, quaking like a leaf in the wind as they struggled to support my weight. My eyes, wide and unblinking, were transfixed on the bedlam that had sprung from my unwitting actions. A deep-seated dread took root within me, an inkling that this pandemonium was merely the overture of a symphony of horrors yet to come. A palpable cold clung to the air, hinting at a hidden terror yet unveiled. A shiver carved its mark deep within me, and I braced for the impending consequences. Unholy Possession. Father Thomas clutched the weathered crucifix, his knuckles ghost-white. Otherworldly and hunting growls echoed from Penelope Higgins's bedroom, forming an eerie symphony laced with supernatural malice that sent icy tendrils racing down his spine. This was no commonplace nightmare of childhood. It was a malevolent being clinging to the innocence of a child with relentless ferocity. Earlier that morning, Mary, Penelope's mother, had called in desperation. Once lively and full of spirit, her 8-year-old daughter had become quiet and distant, and tormented by nightmares that left her bedclothes torn and soaked in sweat. Next came the growls, a collection of otherworldly noises echoing through their rustic farmhouse, turning their nights into chilling terror. Inhaling deeply, Father Thomas gently pushed open the bedroom door. The room was awash in the unhealthy yellow light of a bedside lamp. Penelope was curled up under the thick, heavy covers, her small frame quivering like a leaf in a violent wind. Every muscle in her body was taut with fear, each breath she took shallow and ragged. The room's atmosphere was filled with a strange, metallic scent that immediately caught Father Thomas's attention. It wasn't the familiar, coppery smell of blood, but something much older and more unsettling. The odor seemed to emanate from the walls themselves, carrying a hint of decay that had been ignored for ages. This scent made him sick to his stomach, causing his heart to pound in his chest. "Penelope," he said in a tone both soft and firm, his voice piercing the suffocating silence. The growling stopped. With cautious steps toward the bed, he raised the crucifix, hoping it would prove to be a barrier against unseen adversaries. A pale face emerged from beneath the sheets, its features gaunt and devoid of vibrancy. Penelope's once sparkling eyes were now empty pits devoid of the innocent light that used to shine from them. Her irises had been replaced by swirling black voids. "Help me," she croaked out in an unfamiliar imitation of her voice. Father Thomas was well aware that it was not her voice at all, but rather the entity using her to convey its terrifying intent. Suppressing the fear lodged in his throat, Father Thomas responded, "I am here for you, Penelope, and so is God." The entity sneered at his words, the sound a horrific mockery of a child's laughter. "God, we are far beyond your feeble deity's reach," it retorted, its voice a deep undertone of growls. "This vessel is ours now, a perfect conduit for our return." An icy dread gripped Father Thomas. This wasn't a mere possession, it was so much more. An ancient evil force desired to use Penelope's innocence as a portal to their realm. He had to act swiftly. He recalled decades of intense training from his travels around the world, flooding his mind with exorcism prayers that spilled from his lips in a steady, unwavering cadence. Despite his trembling hands, Father Thomas remained composed and focused on the task at hand. The room pulsed with an eerie electric energy, the unseen forces crackling through the air like bolts of lightning. The antique furniture groaned and protested, as if being pulled in opposite directions by invisible hands. The hair prickled against his collar as he focused his energy, beads of sweat forming on his forehead. Digging deep into his willpower, he chanted the ancient incantation with fervor, determined to finally rid the cursed space of the evil lurking within its walls. Penelope screamed, a terrifying wail that ripped at Father Thomas's soul, but he persisted, his voice soaring above the chaos. As he clutched the crucifix, its silver surface warmed against his palm, emitting a faint glow that cut through the darkness enveloping the room. The entity retaliated violently, spewing threats and jeers in multiple voices, speaking of ancient agreements and insatiable hunger. But after what felt like an eternity, the fiend faltered, fading away after a final, deafening shriek. Relief flooded Father Thomas as Penelope's eyes fluttered open, revealing their normal brown depths. He collapsed into a nearby chair, exhausted yet triumphant. "Father Thomas, what happened?" Penelope asked weakly. "You're safe now," he assured her. Leaving the farmhouse the next morning, Father Thomas couldn't shake off a profound sense of disquiet. The encounter had rattled him, not just the sheer power wielded by the entity, but also its glimpse into an alternate reality. The experience was something he wouldn't soon forget. Back at his church, he delved into forgotten texts in the library's darkest corners and consulted other priests. The entity was mighty and ancient, and its motives were shrouded in enigma. Every morning, Father Thomas woke up to the same unsettling quiet that had enveloped Penelope's town for several months. The townspeople appeared to have put the past incidents of demonic possession behind them, but Father Thomas was unable to ignore the palpable sense of foreboding that pervaded the atmosphere. He roamed the abandoned streets, his footfalls reverberating off vacant buildings as he sought any indication of residual evil. However, each day his search yielded nothing. Despite this, he was unable to disregard an impending disaster that seemed poised to strike at any moment. One night, while deciphering a brittle scroll filled with cryptic symbols, a single phrase leaped out at him: the Weaver of Shadows. This name triggered fresh waves of terror within him. The Weaver was a malevolent entity that manipulated possessed vessels like puppets to unravel reality for its arrival. This wasn't an isolated incident. It was a prelude to something far more sinister. The thought sent chills down his spine as he realized he was now a lone warrior against an unseen foe. Penelope's possession took on a terrifying weight, far surpassing the rescue of an innocent child. It heralded an impending invasion, sending waves of dread through Father Thomas that quickly hardened into an iron resolve. He would not stand by and watch as the world crumbled. Instead, he cast his net far and wide within the church's orbit, seeking those steeped in the arcane, those who would lend credence to his dire warnings rather than label him mad. The rhythmic tap of Father Thomas's worn leather shoes echoed off the stone walls, punctuating the stillness of the church's labyrinthine passages. He was on his way to a clandestine gathering, having unearthed a faction within the sacred institution that delved into dusty tomes and potent relics in their desperate quest to ward off the Weaver. This ominous entity hung like a storm cloud over mankind, threatening to unleash a tempest of chaos. Time became an elusive wisp as months blurred into one another. Father Thomas and his newfound comrades journeyed across uncharted territories, their path marked by encounters with hellish sentinels, and the icy whispers of the Weaver seemed to seep from every crevice. Their journey culminated at an abandoned temple, its ancient stones murmuring tales of forgotten rituals. In this desolate sanctuary, they enacted an audacious ceremony, offering up their life force as fuel to conjure a swirling vortex designed to banish the Weaver. The battle was fierce and precarious, success teetering on a knife edge, yet the group's unwavering determination and self-sacrifice tipped the scales in their favor. As the comrades stepped out from under the shadowy eaves of the temple into daylight, a stifling silence blanketed them. Had they truly vanquished their foe? Father Thomas cast his gaze upon his weary allies, their faces pale but their eyes shining with triumph, and allowed himself a small smile. For the time being, they had successfully liberated humanity from the clutches of the Weaver, or so it seemed. But he knew deep down that this victory was merely a reprieve, for another encounter with the darkness loomed on the horizon. From that fateful day forward, Father Thomas stood as humanity's sentinel, determined to protect the fragile veil separating reality from the malevolent forces lurking in the darkness. His unshakable faith in both God and the indomitable spirit of mankind only grows stronger with each hard-earned triumph against the encroaching shadows of chaos. And though his body may tire and falter, his resolve remains unbreakable in the face of unspeakable evil. Sam is doing her best to navigate the complexities of adolescence. Between academic pressures and social anxieties, she seeks solace in her friendship with Tamira, a rebellious spirit harboring a cryptic secret. But their bond fractures when Sam, seeking acceptance within a popular group, makes a fateful choice, shattering Tamira's trust and unleashing a malevolent force. Whispers of an ancient Indian demon begin to permeate Sam's life. Strange occurrences, chilling dreams, and unsettling visions blur the lines between reality and nightmare. As Tamira vanishes under mysterious circumstances, Sam embarks on a desperate search for answers, aided by her increasingly concerned parents and a sympathetic teacher. Their investigation leads them into the heart of Sam's Indian heritage, uncovering a forgotten legend and a ritualistic practice believed to appease the demon. As its presence strengthens, the demon's hunger manifests in brutal acts of possession and violence. Sam's world crumbles. Torn between her growing skepticism and the undeniable terror she witnesses, she faces an agonizing choice: confront the darkness within, or succumb to its seductive whispers. The climax plunges Sam into a nightmarish confrontation with the demon, a battle not just for survival, but for her own identity. Forced to reconcile her cultural heritage with the modern world, she discovers a hidden strength within, harnessing the forgotten language of her ancestors to combat the ancient evil. The resolution, steeped in ambiguity, leaves audiences to ponder the lingering consequences of Sam's actions. Has she truly vanquished the demon, or has it merely retreated into the shadows, waiting for another opportunity to manifest its twisted agenda? It Lives Inside transcends the traditional horror genre, weaving a chilling narrative tapestry infused with cultural mythology and poignant societal commentary. Director Bishal Dutta crafts a film that resonates on multiple levels, offering both spine-tingling scares and a layered exploration of identity and belonging. Megan Suri delivers a captivating performance as Sam, portraying her journey from teenage angst to reluctant heroine with nuanced depth. The supporting cast lends weight and complexity to the narrative. The film's pacing builds tension through subtle hints and unsettling imagery. The scares are not mere jump scares. They linger in the mind, fueled by the chilling atmosphere and the ever-present threat of a lurking evil. However, It Lives Inside is not without its flaws. Some viewers may find the narrative pacing slow, and the cultural references, while enriching the story, might require additional research for full comprehension. Despite these minor shortcomings, It Lives Inside stands as a significant entry in the horror genre. It offers a refreshing blend of scares, cultural exploration, and social commentary, leaving a lasting impression long after the credits roll. While categorized as horror, It Lives Inside incorporates elements of psychological thriller, coming-of-age drama, and cultural exploration. The film delves into the complexities of navigating cultural identity as a first-generation American, subtly addressing themes of cultural assimilation and generational struggles. Sam's journey grapples with the meaning of cultural heritage and confronting the darker aspects of one's identity to claim personal agency. It Lives Inside is a haunting and thought-provoking film that offers more than just cheap thrills. It delves into deeper themes, questioning identity, heritage, and the hidden darkness that lurks within us all. While not for the faint of heart, the film's chilling atmosphere and nuanced narrative make it a worthwhile watch for those seeking a horror experience that goes beyond the ordinary. It Lives Inside is a drama horror thriller that is 1 hour and 39 minutes long and is rated PG-13. The Southern Underworld gives it 4 bloody knives. In the idyllic countryside of Rhode Island, nestled amidst rolling hills and whispers of forgotten history, stands the Perron farmhouse. Unbeknownst to the idealistic Roger and Carolyn Perron, their new home harbors a darkness older than time itself, a symphony of unseen horrors waiting to orchestrate their descent into unimaginable fear. The film opens with a creeping sense of unease that permeates the seemingly charming farmhouse. Objects move on their own, whispers snake through the walls, and unseen entities dance at the edges of perception. The Perron family, initially dismissive, finds their skepticism shattering as the paranormal escalates in intensity. The film balances domestic intimacy with chilling horror. Director James Wan utilizes slow zooms, unsettling jump scares, and a haunting score to create an atmosphere of constant dread. The performances are nuanced and believable, particularly Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson as Ed and Lorraine Warren. Desperate for answers, the Perrons turn to Ed and Lorraine, renowned demonologists with a history of confronting the darkest corners of the paranormal. As they enter the Perron home, Ed and Lorraine recognize the chilling signature of an evil entity and vengeful spirit bound to the land by a past steeped in cruelty and despair. The investigation escalates into a terrifying exploration of Bathsheba's twisted history and her demonic hunger. Ed and Lorraine, armed with their faith and honed expertise, face a series of harrowing confrontations with the unseen, each more terrifying than the last. The Perron family finds themselves caught in the crossfire, their home transformed into a battleground between the living and the damned. The Conjuring is a meditation on faith, family, and the enduring power of hope in the face of darkness. The film explores themes of loss, grief, and the haunting legacy of evil, weaving them into a terrifying narrative that chills the blood and lingers long after the credits roll. The film's graphic imagery, bone-chilling scares, and relentless sense of dread can be unsettling for some viewers. However, for those who appreciate a well-crafted horror film with genuine emotional depth and a unique sense of atmosphere, The Conjuring is a masterpiece of the genre. The film's legacy lies in its ability to tap into our primal fears of the unknown, the unseen, and the darkness that can lurk even within the most familiar places. It reminds us that the line between reality and the supernatural can be thinner than we ever imagined, and that even the most comforting havens can harbor secrets capable of shattering our world. With its unforgettable performances, masterful direction, and chilling exploration of the human condition in the face of unimaginable terror, The Conjuring reminds us of the shadows that dance just beyond the edge of our vision. The Conjuring is a horror mystery thriller that is 1 hour and 52 minutes long. It is rated R. The Southern Underworld gives it 5 bloody knives. Beneath the moonlit facade of a secluded mansion, secrets stir like vipers in the shadows. Hap, a charming drifter seeking a taste of forbidden pleasure, enters a clandestine world of seduction and deceit. When he meets Mina, a beautiful stranger with a soul as dark as forgotten desires. Whisked away to her ancestral estate, Hap finds himself ensnared in a web of intrigue spun by Mina and her sister Lucy. The cavernous house, a Gothic tapestry of shadows and whispers, seems to breathe with a life of its own. As the night unravels, a twisted game of cat and mouse unfolds. Hap, fueled by lust and the allure of wealth, navigates the treacherous terrain of forbidden desires, oblivious to the sinister undercurrents that pulse beneath the surface. Mina, enigmatic and alluring, dances on the edge of madness, her motivations veiled in secrets as old as the house itself. As the hours bleed into one another, boundaries blur and reality warps. Past and present bleed through cracks in time, revealing glimpses of a shadowy past where blood stained the grand hall and whispered curses hung heavy in the air. Hap, intoxicated by a seductive brew of wine and danger, finds himself drawn deeper into the abyss, lured by the promise of riches and a forbidden intimacy with Mina. However, within the shadows, something ancient and monstrous awakens, its hunger gnawing at the edges of their decadent game. House of Darkness masterfully blends noir thriller elements with gothic horror, weaving a tapestry of suspense that tightens with each passing scene. Director Neil LaBute utilizes long takes, claustrophobic framing, and an unsettling score to amplify the film's psychological impact. The pacing is deliberate, allowing the tension to simmer just below the surface before erupting in moments of visceral horror and unnerving revelations. Justin Long delivers a captivating performance as Hap, balancing charm and naivety with a touch of growing terror as he realizes the sinister nature of his predicament. Kate Bosworth is both alluring and unsettling as Mina, her enigmatic presence hinting at depths of secrets and unspoken darkness. Gia Cravatin and Lucy Walters round out the memorable cast, adding layers of complexity to the film's unsettling atmosphere. House of Darkness is more than just a horror film. It's a psychological thriller that delves into the dark corners of desire, deception, and the consequences of playing with fire. The film masterfully explores themes of obsession, the allure of forbidden desires, and the lingering shadows of the past, keeping viewers on the edge of their seats with its unpredictable twists and turns. LaBute's direction creates an atmosphere of suffocating tension and creeping dread. He utilizes stark contrasts in light and shadow, unsettling close-ups, and a haunting score to amplify the film's emotional impact. The film's exploration of sexual themes, violence, and psychological manipulation may be unsettling for some viewers. However, for those who appreciate a well-crafted thriller with a unique and disturbing premise, House of Darkness is a great movie. House of Darkness allows the viewers to confront their own vulnerabilities and challenge the perception of appearances. It reminds us that the darkest nightmares are often rooted in the most intimate desires, and that the price of indulging in forbidden pleasures can be devastating. With its unforgettable performances, masterful direction, and chilling exploration of the human psyche, House of Darkness stands as a testament to the power of cinema to confront our fears and ignite critical reflection on the darkness that can lurk beneath the veneer of desire and ambition. House of Darkness is a horror mystery that is 1 hour and 28 minutes long and is rated R. The Southern Underworld gives it 4 bloody knives. The final broadcast. The haunting wail of an otherworldly voice echoed through the stillness of the midnight air, pleading for help. Isabella, host of Midnight Whispers, initially dismissed it as another prank call. But as time froze and eerie occurrences surrounded her, Isabella realized that she was caught in a never-ending nightmare. The enigmatic caller, known simply as Echo, revealed themselves to be a malicious entity. As Isabella frantically searched for a means of escape, the sinister presence grew stronger, its grip suffocating and unrelenting. The hairs on the back of Isabella's neck stood on end, and a chill crawled the length of her spine when she learned that she was a mere pawn thrown into a deadly game, orchestrated by an omnipotent and merciless force. The Cursed Selfie. The photo taken at Hawkins Manor captured their beaming faces, unaware of the sinister presence that lurked within the frame. The flickering lights and chilling temperature were all condensed into a haunting grin. Soon after, the seemingly harmless selfie went viral. Likes turned into cryptic warnings, and comments transformed into disturbing whispers. In subsequent posts, Emily's once lively eyes reflected a soulless glow, and her laughter was replaced by unsettling cackles. One by one, their social media profiles twisted into grotesque puppet shows, each friend's deepest fears playing out online. Evelyn watched in horror as her feed flooded with macabre images from the manor's secret torture chamber, ending with a gruesome selfie that mirrored hers, but with Emily's smile frozen in an eternal chill. As Evelyn's shrieks echoed through the room, the screen went black, taunting her with a chilling caption, "Join the fun, your profile picture is next."